In this video, I'm going to discuss Amazon dropshipping software, and I'm going to answer two very important questions. One is, can you afford it? Two is, do you need it? And in doing that, I'm going to start by looking at the monthly budget versus the cost of software. Now, your budget, let's say for example, is $500. And what I mean is that you have $500 to spend on actual orders in order to fill the orders for the month. Now let's say your average ROI is 20% on these orders. Well, then your profit would be 20% of the $500 you invest, which means you would make $100 profit. Now, the cost of software, if you were to use all of these different softwares that people are always recommending, well, it adds up to at least $200 minimum. So you'd already be operating at a deficit. $200 in cost and only $100 profit. So at a 20% average ROI, which is not a bad ROI for dropshipping, you need to do $1,000 in orders. So you would need to invest $1,000 in supply in order to earn $200 profit and to break even on the cost of software. And then you still have to pay, of course, your Amazon seller fee or any other cost that you might incur. Now, so this is what really answers the question of whether or not you can afford all these different types of software, which are listed here. And what I'm going to do is go over each type on a separate slide, and I'm going to talk about whether or not you really need it. Now, supplier inventory and repricing. This is as little as $15 a month if you use the one I recommend. Now, this makes sure that your products are in stock and that your price is profitable on Amazon. However, this can be done manually for a small number of products, but as your store grows, it becomes very risky to operate without this software for a large number of products. Okay, it's going to be very difficult to operate without it. Therefore, I say that you should invest in a low-cost software for this purpose. And it's really crucial to the actual management of your store, meaning you need the software to actually manage your products, make sure they're in stock, and make sure that they're profitable. Okay, so again, that can be very low cost. It can cost as little as $15 a month. But let's look at another type, which is Amazon Product Info and Research. Now, this kind of software scans Amazon products and categories to provide data and reports. It can help you determine sales volume, competition, and other information on other sellers. This is helpful. I mean, obviously very helpful data, but only if you can make sense and if you can make use of the analysis it provides. And what I mean is that you have to understand what that data means. And then if you're scanning thousands of products, you need to also have the money to be able to do that many orders, right? So while this is nice to have, I mean, it's nice to have if you can actually afford it. I mean, if you can generate enough profit to cover the cost. Really, I would say that you don't actually need it starting out, because you can examine the rank, the ratings, and other sellers on the listings manually. You just have to go look at each product that you're interested in one at a time, and you can see these things for yourself. You can see the rank, the ratings, and the other sellers as well. Let's look at another type of software, which is repricing against competition. This runs at least $50 a month, and so did the last one, by the way. It was at least $50 a month. And this helps you compete with other sellers when they lower their prices. And it does not, this is one misunderstanding people have, it does not connect to your supplier, meaning you still have to get the cost data from your tracking software, or you have to input it manually. So because of that, remember, this is an additional cost on top of your supplier tracking, right? So this is very useful in competing against other sellers automatically. However, you can do this, I'm going to say you can do this manually, and what you could do is do it on a scheduled time interval. And what that would mean is that you could, for instance, every 12 hours, 10 hours, 4 hours, depending on your schedule, you can make a point of going in, seeing if someone has underpriced you, and then lowering your price. I understand this is much slower, but this is an option, especially if you have a small number of products. It's something that you can consider doing if you don't, or if you're unable to afford the cost of the software. Now, product sourcing and brands risk. Okay, now this is probably your most expensive software that you're going to have is product sourcing. All right, software that actually finds profitable products at certain suppliers that you can sell on Amazon. It obviously saves a lot of time and effort, because the fact of the matter is you can do this manually, but it is very time consuming to do manual product research. I know, because I did it for about a year before I started using software. Now, the brand's risk, basically, this is software that warns you of certain brands that are risky. Okay, and it does this based on the tendency of these brands to do IP claims, which again, basically that data comes from experience of other users. You can also just check restricted brands lists yourself manually, but of course the lists are not always going to be totally up to date. So if you can get a software that does this, that's really a good idea. It obviously is a great help because it saves your account from suspension. There is a software I can recommend, a Chrome extension, and I can also provide a discount code for that as well. So you can take a look at that, and that's just a one-time fee instead of paying every month. It's a one-time lifetime purchase. So that kind of goes outside of the budget because it's just a one-time initial investment. So that is basically the breakdown. It is up to you to decide and to figure out whether or not you can afford these different softwares and whether or not it's worth it for you to have these different softwares. I'd like to actually just go back to, in fact, I'm just going to exit and go back to previous slide so we can look at the overall combination of all these different types. And so as you look at the cost of all these different types of software, it is really up to you to decide which of these you can afford. But as I said, everything that they do in some way can be done manually. The fact of the matter is that these marketplaces, including Amazon, existed before the software did, right? And so all of this can be done manually, but it is just a lot slower. It's just a lot faster with software. So it all depends on your budget, but you need to look at, are you even able to generate enough profit? Do you have the funds, the resources, the time, and all the other resources included in order to generate enough profit to cover the cost of these software? So one thing I'm continuously working on are free solutions, or at least low-cost solutions, that are not necessarily as fast as software, but they will help you with a lot of the different tasks and things that are typically done with these software. And so do stay tuned to see what links I have, because as I develop more different tools to help you with some of these different things that is typically done with software, my main tool to do this is the main tool that I use to do this is Excel, and of course that includes Google Sheets, because certain things are done more easily or more accessible in Google Sheets, and then some are better to do in Excel. So if you have any comments on this, any suggestions, any questions about this, I'd love to see them. You can just leave them below on the video, or you can respond to my email if you subscribe for any of my resources. This is Mr. Mark, Excel for Amazon Dropshipping, and hope to see you in another video.